Hello everybody and welcome back to Syracuse Aviation. Before we get started, make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel for more content in the future. So today we have the January 2025 Syracuse Hancock International Airport update for you guys. Obviously the first Syracuse update of the new year, so very excited to get into 2025 here at SYR and see how the airport continues to progress with some new changes, which I'll touch on most of them in the intro actually, because it's just the most applicable, because most of these are not air service development. I will have some air service development news, but we'll get to those later on. So first I'm going to talk about the consolidated rental car facility. Construction for that is supposed to commence in 2025 according to the airport authority. I haven't heard anything on the topic though, so I'm interested to see kind of where we're going to go from there. Hopefully they end up going through with that. The economy lot and shuttle. So we do have a new shuttle that is operating from the economy lot to the airport finally. We are also getting a new economy lot, which is not something I was expecting. That is going to be outside of the Mohawk Global area, so near the cargo facility at the airport. We're going to have, definitely the shuttle is going to be used for those services as well. Qdoba Mexican Eats, I believe is the name of the restaurant, is now open on the bridge to Concourse A, so we have that to look forward to next time we go. We'll check that out and see how it looks. Expansion in terms of the actual terminal expansions itself. Concourse B is almost done. Gate 22 should be finished in about a month, and then 27 should be similar. It'll probably be a couple months after, but it's going to be finished in a relatively close proximity in reference to the whole project, including Gate 11, which should be finished, I think, at the end of 2025. That's definitely on a later trajectory, which is totally fine, but definitely expansion's coming along very nicely, so very excited to make use of those in the future. 2024, I know this is a 2025 update, but 2024 did surpass 3 million passengers, which is the first time that that's happened in the airport's history. Despite losing Southwest Airlines, December was actually, I believe, 2.5% above December 2023 when we had Southwest here. So very, very proud of the airport for that accomplishment. I was not expecting that, especially considering November was about 9% lower than November 2023. So I'm very proud of the airport and the airport authority for being able to make all of those awesome things happen. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into the actual airport update portion of this video and get into some air service development. Okay, getting started at Gate 15 today, we have the Delta Connection Embraer 175 operating for Republic Airways today. He's going to be heading out to New York LaGuardia, which for the month of January is 3 daily, with 2 Embraer 170s and then a 175 thrown in there as well. Next up at Gate 1 here, we have the Breeze Airways Airbus A220-300. This aircraft is going to be operating the turnaround flight to Tampa, Florida today. Tampa is going 3 weekly, so very exciting to see that. Obviously, being in central New York, especially in the winter, Tampa is a nice destination to be able to fly to, and the Tampa service on Breeze has been filling up very, very nicely, so very appreciative of Breeze Airways for moving that up to 3 weekly. Some other news for Breeze Airways out of Syracuse. Norfolk in the summer is going to be going on the A220-300 from the Embraer 195. Fort Myers is also going to be going year-round, obviously through the summer. Fort Myers is going to be a Wednesday-Saturday service, though, so not the most ideal, but certainly glad to have Fort Myers go year-round in general. That's not really something I thought I'd see anytime soon. So I'm very pleased with those efforts from Breeze Airways. Really appreciate what they've been doing here. It's been a while since they've announced a new route, though, so I'd like to see some more, hopefully added in the future. LAX, I know it is kind of a long shot, but they do already have Las Vegas out of here, so I'd like to see LAX at some point, and obviously just more connections to Florida is going to be always very well perceived and appreciated, particularly Sarasota, which we do have as an option for Breeze Airways from here. You do have to connect, though, which is not the biggest deal. It's still nice to have, but just more direct flights and then competition, obviously, because we have Sarasota on Allegiant already. New Orleans, I mean, there's just a whole plethora of destinations you could throw out there that would be able to work from here, so I'm certain that there's a lot more that they could do, so just excited to see where they go in the future, and hopefully see some more routes for Breeze Airways. Next in line, moving on to Gate 3, we have the JetBlue A321. This aircraft is on a turn-on flight from Orlando, MCO, of course. One exciting thing for JetBlue The A321 is, well, it will be going away. It might actually be gone right now. I'm not entirely sure, so I apologize for not really knowing the specifics on that. But this summer, JetBlue has extended their schedule, so the 2 daily Orlando will be going through the summer. So that's really awesome to see. I'm very pleased with that. They tried it for the winter, and I guess it worked well enough that they said they're just going to keep going, which really good for us, really good capacity, obviously connection opportunities as well. So looking good for JetBlue. Next up here at Gate 5, we have the American Eagle Bombardier CRJ-700 operated by PSA. This aircraft will be heading out to Washington Ronald Reagan DCA National Airport. I have to touch on this because we're here. Obviously, you guys have most likely heard about the incident that occurred at DCA. Very, very unfortunate. My thoughts and prayers go out to anyone who is involved or related to that incident. Just absolutely just heartbreaking to see that. So definitely for all of you watching, I encourage you to keep everyone in your prayers as well. Just very sad to see what's happened. So definitely be praying about that as we move forward. But yeah, the CRJ-700 here at Gate 5, currently 4 daily CRJ-700s for Washington DCA. Moving along, next up at Gate 6, we have an American Eagle ERJ-145. This aircraft will be heading out to Boston Logan today, still a once daily Embraer 145. So not the best thing in the world, but nonetheless happy to have the service at all. Very nice for Syracuse, especially to have some competition with JetBlue. Definitely a decent presence of flights, serving the Boston area. So lucky to have that, and hopefully we get something else moving forward to keep Boston kind of interesting. But for now, this is what we have, looking very nice there. Before we move on, I want to just briefly touch on the end of Concourse A in reference to the gate alignments and kind of how they're starting to park aircraft now. So long story short, between gate 5 and 6, where you see the CRJ-7 and the Embraer 145, there was a pretty big gap there a while ago, and recently they have kind of filled in that gap and shifted all of the gates down towards the JetBlue side, closer to gate 3. So now we have gate 10, where you see the Embraer 175 there. That was just a regional gate. I believe that is going to be able to accommodate mainline aircraft now, and I believe they're also going to still have room to shift gate 11 and 12, and then they might end up putting a jet bridge on gate 14 from what I've seen in their diagrams on the SRAA website. I'm not totally sure. I don't have confirmation. The airport authority hasn't explicitly said that they're going to add a jet bridge on gate 14 anytime in the recent history. We'll have to see what ends up happening there. But nonetheless, it's nice to see that they're finally starting to kind of consolidate the gates here and just maximize the efficiency of the terminal, be able to fit more aircraft and larger aircraft at that as well. Next up, moving into Gate 8 here, we have an American Airlines Airbus A319. This aircraft will be making a flight shortly down to Charlotte Douglas International Airport. Charlotte currently is 4 daily with mostly the A319. Sometimes, depending on how full the flights are on a certain time of day, you might see an A320 make its way in here as well. I've seen a couple A321s, very seldom though, especially this time of year, but later on when it starts to get busier for the airport, spring, summer, fall, you do see more A321s, but we've seen a couple throughout the winter, just not very consistently, but nonetheless, still nice to see 4 daily mainline for American down to Charlotte. Next up, moving on to gate number 9, we have an American Eagle Embraer 170. This aircraft will be heading out to Chicago O'Hare today, which is currently 2 daily E175s. I do have an E175 coming up next, but that one will be used for a different flight. The reason I chose the 170 for Chicago is because you will still occasionally see an Embraer 170 come in from time to time, so it's just not as consistent here. That's why I've put this one in. But with that, we'll move on to gate 10 with the Embraer 175 for American Eagle. All right, so next up at gate 10, we have that Embraer 175 for American Eagle. As stated, this aircraft is going to be heading down to Miami today, which is back down to the once weekly, Saturday only Embraer 175, which is an overnight. So they are officially done with the daily because that was just for a winter or, more of a Christmas break type thing. So that sounded like it had a pretty good run from the seat maps that I saw, even on, Tuesdays and whatnot. The seat maps seem to be pretty good, so I'm hoping that in the future this will go daily for the whole winter at least. I would be very pleased to see that, but definitely they are trying to expand this route, so hopefully it goes well for them. And, just continuing to look forward to what's to come for some more expansions, hopefully, in the near future. So next up here at gate 11, we have the Allegiant Air Airbus A319 in the new livery, of course. This aircraft is going to be heading down to, I'm going to go with St. Pete today because I've been seeing a few more A320s heading out to Sanford. Still seeing some A319s for the St. Pete service. So there is some A320s though as I'm looking at the schedule. It really just kind of depends on the day. It's not really too consistent, which is not a huge problem. They're just, continuing to maximize their efficiency, which is one of my favorite things to see. It may not be consistent, but if they're being efficient, I could really care less. So this is gate 11, as you guys probably know if you've been around for a while. I did touch on this earlier. Gate 11 expansion is currently under construction. It looks to be going well so far. I was actually there about a month ago at this point, a little bit less actually, and I did get to see the expansion a bit. So all they have up from that point at least was the steel framing, and I think it's probably looks about the same as it did. And then the jet bridge is going to be moved a little bit further down the terminal, so a little bit further to the east, if that makes sense. Again, I mentioned earlier they're trying to kind of realign the gates and just maximize the space that they have available in the concourse. So gate 11 is going to be shifted down a little bit with the rest, and the expansion is actually going to be able to allow for that a little bit. They're going to be adding an extension piece on the jet bridge that runs parallel to the terminal, and they're going to shift the end of the jet bridge down, and that's going to allow it to move a little bit further east. So that's exciting to see. I think that should be done around the end of 2025 from what I've heard. We'll have to see what ends up happening, but nonetheless, looking forward for that to be done. And very excited to see the future of Allegiant. Still hoping for Destin. That's one route that I've been really hoping for. You guys probably have heard me talk on that a lot before, so I'm not going to go any more in depth with that. But that's all we have for Allegiant currently, so looking pretty good there. Moving on to gate 12 here, we have the JetBlue Airways Airbus A220-300 and the Hops livery, of course. Technically the old Hops livery now, I should say. So we're going to send this out to Boston today, which is still once daily. It's been pretty consistent with that service. Aside from the aircraft type that they fly, it's been flip-flopping between the Embraer 190 and the A220. It seems like every other week almost. They've just been switching pretty frequently, so I guess it's good for variety's sake. And again, if it's being efficient and getting the highest load factors for the specific weeks, then I have no complaints there. Okay, moving into Concourse B now. I'm just going to give a little bit of update regarding the terminal itself before we get into the air service. We're going to take a look at gate 27 here in a second at the south end, kind of on the west side next to that United A320. The jet bridge is officially hung. The hold room is mostly complete. They have all the windows up, so it looks really nice from what I've seen. I'm really proud of the work that they've done. It's a really good design, and I'm really excited to see who ends up using it. I, at the current time, have no idea. Nothing's set in stone, so it's going to remain kind of a mystery for a little bit longer. But again, because it's so close to being finished, I think we will get an answer here pretty soon. So once we do, I will be sure to give you guys an answer to that mystery. Whether it be in the form of an airport update or another sit-down video, we'll have to see. Now, when it comes to the east end of Terminal B, Gate 22 has officially been hung, and it has been in use for the last month or so. They've been parking mainline aircraft there, which if you don't know, it used to be a ground load for a regional aircraft. Now it's mainline, and it has a jet bridge, so really excited to have that facility mostly operational. The jet bridge is operational, but the hold room itself is not. From what I've heard, in about a month or two, we should have Einstein's Bagels open and in business, which is located in that bump out. So I'm assuming if the restaurant's going to be open at that time, the hold room will be as well. So definitely going to keep you guys updated on that as well. But that's all we have for the infrastructure on Concourse B. Now let's go ahead and move into the air service itself. So as per usual, we're going to start at gate 26 and then work our way around the concourse. So at gate 26, we have a United Airlines Airbus A320 in the Evo blue colors. This aircraft will be heading out to Denver, which is still a overnight, once daily. Currently mostly on the A319. Again, you guys know the deal with United's inconsistent mainline, but I have it represented on the A320 for this update. I didn't realize that the United A320s were so close to being retired. From what I heard when I looked it up, they're going to be gone around summertime of 2025, which I would have assumed they had a couple years left. I think the A319s do, but the 320s, I was definitely surprised to see that. I'm really going to miss these aircraft. I think they look really nice, and I'm a huge Airbus guy, actually, if you guys didn't know. Generally speaking, I prefer Airbus unless it's, a 757, but I digress, and I'm really good at that. So at any rate, the United A320 in the EVA blue colors will be heading out to Denver. Next up at gate 25, getting into our corner of Delta aircraft, we're going to start off with the first CRJ 900. This aircraft in particular will be heading out to New York JFK today. What I'm seeing on the schedule is one Embraer 175 and then two CRJ 900s for JFK specifically. So it's been three daily for as long as I can remember, so I'm glad that they've stuck with that. Nice to have some variety too as well on CRJs plus Embraer 175s. I really like that as well. So not too much else to take note of there. So let's move on to gate 24A. So next up here at gate 24A, we have another Delta Connection CRJ 900. Originally, I was going to send this one out to New York LaGuardia, but I just remembered that I already had LaGuardia going out of gate 15. So we're going to send this one out to Detroit, which is one of two Detroit flights you're going to see in this update for that reason. I would send it out to Minneapolis, but if you guys didn't know, Minneapolis is suspended for the winter. So we're going to send this one out to Detroit as well as the next aircraft at gate 24. So Detroit is currently 3 daily flights, which is comprised of two CRJs. Generally, sometimes you have a 170 or a 75 thrown in there, but generally it's two CRJ-9s plus the 320 on the overnight service. So that's been pretty consistent from what I've seen. The 320 has been here overnighting since early summer 2024. So, and then it's also done some seasonal overnights in previous summers. So it's nice to see some consistency there. A lot of capacity for Detroit, so looking pretty good for Delta's Detroit service. So as I was saying, we have that 320. He's going to head out to Detroit. I've already went over all the details there. So here's just a quick little view of that 320 with the beautiful 321 in the background that we will head on to next. So next up here at gate 23, we have the beautiful Delta Airlines Airbus A321, as I was just alluding to. This aircraft is on the turnaround service from ATL, Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. No new changes currently for this service. It's still the 3 daily flights with one A321 on the overnight service, and then the other 2 flights are on the A320. However, this summer, we have some pretty exciting news. So starting in June, we have 3 daily A321s, which is going to be a summer thing. Before they go to that, it's going to be 2 A321s, and then I think it's going to be a 320. So they're going to slowly add some more capacity as our busy season starts to pick up. But at some point in the summer, I know we're not there yet, but looking ahead, we will have 3 daily A321s for Atlanta on Delta Airlines, which is something I've been looking forward to a long time. We didn't know that this was going to happen, but it had to eventually with the way that Delta's fleet has been changing. So very excited to announce that, and obviously hopefully try to plane spot some of those in the future. So Atlanta definitely going strong for Delta Airlines. Looking forward to seeing those 3 daily A321s this summer. Next up at gate 22, we have the United Airlines 737 MAX 9 in the EVA blue colors. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Newark Liberty today, which is 2 daily regional jets, which is not the best that I've ever seen, obviously. 2 daily RJs, just not ideal. It's mostly 175s, which has actually been pretty consistent, so that's nice to see some consistency there. But hey, if that's what the demand is calling for, then so be it. So not much to report on there. Nice to have Liberty still going in general. So hopefully we start to see some more mainline aircraft come in for Liberty on the overnight services, at least. Probably as we start to get into March and April, we're going to see more of those. So looking forward to that as we move forward. Next up at gate 21, we have a United Airlines Boeing 737-900 in the EVA blue colors. This aircraft will be heading out to Chicago O'Hare today, which is 2 daily with 1 mainline and then a CRJ-7. So it's pretty similar to Newark, how you just have the 2 flights, but at least we do have a mainline on one of these flights, so that is nice to see. Keep in mind it is also still January, so definitely our slower season here, and I do expect a lot of additional capacity to be added back into this market as we move into our busier seasons, as we head into spring, and then eventually summer, which is going to happen before we know it. So looking forward to the nicer months here in Syracuse, and then obviously our airport's going to be getting a lot busier. And the final aircraft for today's Syracuse Hancock International Airport update is going to be found here at gate 20 with the Frontier Airlines Airbus A321 in the Powder the Polar Bear livery. The only current flight we have on Frontier is to Orlando, which makes sense. Again, January, nothing more needed to say there. So Orlando is currently daily with mostly A321s. You probably will see some A320s more often on Tuesday, although I am seeing tomorrow we are getting an A320, so it kind of just depends on the day, kind of like United and some of the other carriers. They're just trying to maximize the efficiency with seat counts and whatnot, so nonetheless, I'm glad to have Orlando going consistently at least, and then as we move into the nicer seasons, of course, you're going to see Atlanta and Raleigh-Durham return, so I'm very excited for those to come back, and again, just looking forward to those summer months. So that's going to conclude today's Syracuse Hancock International Airport update for the month of January 2025. Starting off the new year, the airport's in a pretty decent spot right now, considering the circumstance with no Southwest Airlines and then obviously being winter months in general, but still very excited to see these expansions going on, and I do expect some more capacity to return as we move into the warmer months and probably some more routes as well. So I'm eager to report on all of the references that I made throughout the video and kind of keep you guys updated in that regard. So I hope you guys are excited as well. Looking forward to the future of the Syracuse Hancock International Airport. Hope you guys are as well, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please consider liking the video down below and subscribing to the channel. If you are new, if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave me a comment below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.